Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Ever17, The Out of Infinity. And let's not delay because of the alarm sound, and I accidentally hit enter by accident, so, felt as though I was running a fog. I think I read that last time, so no big deal. Great start to the episode, right? My body was half paralyzed and I wouldn't move in the direction I wanted it. I shook my head trying to get rid of the grogginess. No matter how much I ran, I couldn't return to normal. Where is everyone else? I was barely able to hold on to my consciousness as I somehow got this question off to you.
Mayoはクラナニが迎えに行ってる。つぐみはもう非常通路にいるわ。
How's she going to get Mayo? Scummi's in the emergency corridor? For no reason in particular, I repeated Yu's words. Maybe she finally noticed my odd state. Yu looked at me suspiciously. I made it to the emergency corridor. Kabaraki, Tsugumi, and Sarah were already there, waiting. Not much time. Kabaraki grabbed my shoulder hard and, turning around, started running. Sarah and Tsugumi followed Kabaraki's lead.
よく聞いて。すでにレミューは悪会を始めてる。やっと地上と連絡がついて、非常階段が使えるようになったの。でも、急がないとそこもまた浸水してしまうかもしれない。だから、とにかく急いで。
You grab my arm tightly. This is actually getting pretty close to the end, it looks like. They kind of just through that flashback, just went right through a whole day almost. Well, it took 2 days, or 2 episodes to do, but it's same old. And tugging on it violently, you started pounding forward at full speed. Felt like I was about to fall forward, and I braced myself as best I could, trying to keep pace with her as she pulled me forward. We flew like the wind down the painfully cramped passageway. And soon, thankfully the sirens are further away. We had all jumped into the emergency exit stairwell and were running up the stairs. I hear Kabaraki, Sarah, and Tsugumi, their footsteps right above me. Couldn't see from where Kabaraki was calling, but his booming voice thundered off the sides of the metal bulkhead. His eyes met mine and nodding to one another, we pumped our legs harder, climbing as fast as we could. The surface of the stairs was wet. The metal tube surrounding us on the emergency staircase was shaking violently left and right. I slept and whacked my shin hard against the corner. I felt nothing. Both of my legs kept moving as if they were separate from me. My thoughts and feelings were indistinct, vague. An irresistible primal force was propelling me forward. And I handed over the reins to that force. It was a state almost free of doubt. All I could do was to climb and climb and keep climbing. A sharp metallic sound echoed painfully in my ears. The angry cacophony shook my body to its core. It was the screaming of a terrible monster, or the groan of death itself. These are very pleasant sounding, I'm sure. The terrible voice was slowly and certainly closing in on us from behind. Kabaraki screamed at us from up above. I briefly saw the backs of Sarah and Tsugumi, who were running up ahead. The meaning of Kabaraki's words, just a little more, hit me. Just a little more and we can escape from here? From the bottom of the deep ocean? From out of that cage we were trapped in? We're finally getting out. We're going to be free. Along with that hope. An indistinct fear was still inside of me. A heavy dark sensation wriggled at the center of my body. It is rotten, filthy. It has stuck to the walls of my heart, stagnant and putrid. Doesn't matter. Even if you get out of here, nothing will have been solved. And as the doubts went through my mind, my legs faltered. 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. Isn't that a song? I don't know. I carried forward and doubt swelled up, replacing my elation at rescue. You think you're really going to be let out of here. And as this thought filled my mind, I had already arrived at the last step in front of the door. Nobody said a word. We wiped our sweat and struggled for breath as we glared at the huge door which rose before us. Alright, let's go. I put my hand on the door's lever. The door unlocked. Embracing my chest and shoulder against the door, I threw all my weight into opening it. Outside of the door, the sight that greeted us was a sky filled with stars. Covering the dark blue sky was an infinite number of shimmering stars. Beyond time and beyond space, the light poured down gently on our heads from above. All of us, me, you, Sarah, Tsugumi, and Kabaraki, had lost all words. We could only stare at the sky above. If I raised my hand, it seemed as if I could touch the sky. But not there, because it was a real night sky. In this way, the drama of our escape ended. Or at least so it seemed, but I realized nothing had been solved. Correct. I don't know any more answers now than I did before. The slimy sense of unease still gnawed inside of me, and that indistinct notion had changed to a simmering sense of impatience, one that was ready to boil. That's right, it isn't finished. I'm not going to let it end here, because I don't know the reasons behind any of this. The time was 11:43 p.m. A new day was just waiting to begin. Dawn. I was in the middle of a white darkness. Before I knew it, I had become lost in another world. I didn't even have time to wonder where I was before I found the answer. The year was 2017. I could see it. I could see everything. I already knew what had happened at that time.
Takeshi.
Okay, now we're going back again. Cool.
Takeshi, 起きたよ。タクシーが着いたわ。
Takeshi jumped out of bed and stood up. He stretched his arms and loosened his shoulders. Takeshi and Sugimi were still stuck in the examination room of the research facility.
チャミ、おいで。ほら、そろそろ行くよ。
Sugimi scooped up Chami, who'd been running around on the floor, and held him to her chest.
あれ？
Stooping down, Sugimi let out a cry of alarm.
どうした、つぐみ？
たけし、ベッドの下。
ベッドの下？俺の？
He looked into the bed he had been sleeping on. Something was lying there. Reaching out, he pulled whatever it was closer to him.
あれ？
ピピ。
おい、ピピ。どうした？なんでここにいるんだ？
Takeshi picked Pee-Pee up in both hands and shook him lightly. Oh. There was no response, and all the color had vanished from his eyes. He didn't move at all. Pee-Pee was frozen as if he were dead. Suddenly, a faded fragment of memory appeared in the back of my mind. Although it had been weathered and tinged by the flow of time, it was a scene that I was positive I knew. It was a scrap of conversation between Sarah and UBC Akikana.
そっか、あのコニーがね。今の電子犬って本物そっくりだから、機械ってことを意識しないで飼えるのかな。そういえば先輩の家にもいましたよね、電子犬。うん、いるよ。本当はお母さんが飼ってるんだけどね。ずいぶん古いタイプらしいんだけど、壊れることもなく元気にしてるよ。
If they're talking about Pee-Pee, that would mean Pee-Pee was a robot, an electronic dog. There wasn't any proof, but looking at Pee-Pee's motionless body, it was obvious that it wasn't the dead body of an animal. Like a wind-up toy that had stopped moving, Pee-Pee's limbs had frozen in an unnatural position. Takeshi and Sugimi both observed Pee-Pee, who had become nothing more than a broken toy. Takeshi opened his mouth slightly. Seemed like he was about to say something. Suddenly, whatever he said was going to say is not going to be said, I guess. So was Pee-Pee being controlled externally? Because like I was saying, he did seem to know a lot, such as the orange serum from before, so. Unless he was able to free-range think, kind of like Sora. Is that even the right word? I don't think that's the right word for it, but that's what I said. Think freely, you know, of his own will. With a roaring sound, the whole room shook violently. Takeshi's body flipped like a small twig and flew into the wall. Tsugumi tumbled and danced through the air to fall on the floor with a thud.
5 Minuten vor der Implosion.
なんだ今のアナウンス。
Why is it good? That's what it said. Holding Pee-Pee under his arm, Takushi looked up at the ceiling. He didn't find Pee-Pee last time, did he? You know, when him and Tsugumi escaped, sort of, you know? Tsugumi quickly got up.
赤い5分
5分前だと？マジかよ。なんで5分前になってから言うかな。もっと早く教えろよな、タク。
とにかく5分前なの。
Tsugumi shrugged her shoulders exaggeratedly and stared at
素直
Takushi.
に現実を受け入れなさいよ。寛容な私を見習ってね。
よく言ったつぐみ。この状況で冗談言える余裕が出てきたじゃないか、俺流にな。
まあね。でも5分もあれば大丈夫でしょ。
A smile floated to her lips and Tsugumi held out a hand to Takushi.
当たり前だ。
Takushi took her head firmly.
4 Minuten vor der Implosion.
I continued to observe. I accepted the world as it was, understood it, and input it. I had no feelings. Feelings seemed to me to be something people give out in response to the world, as a way of igniting change in their surroundings. But there at that time, I had no physical body. I had no hands, nor feet, no voice, no lungs, no organs for generating heat. In other words, I had no way of interacting with the world. Therefore, even if I were to have had emotions, there was nothing I could do with them. The only thing I could do was to watch. What's more, the act of watching was much different than what normally be associated with sight. This type of vision went far beyond feelings or thought. It was completely isolated, completely removed. The passage of time had condensed down to one moment, and that had exploded in front of me. I had seen everything in one instant. One instant. Standing still in a world where time had stopped, I saw everything.
お、よかったよかった。無事に到着して待ってるじゃないか、タクシー。
当然でしょ。タクシーなんだから勝手にお客をすっぽかしたりしないのよ。
In front of them, the small submarine bobbed gently in the waves.
3 Minuten vor der Implosion.
Only 3 minutes left. Takushi and Tsugumi hurriedly scrambled onto the sub and jumped down the hatch. Tsugumi slid over to the driver's side of the cockpit, checked to see if the gauges were in order, and flipped some switches. The hatch overhead closed automatically. Tsugumi took the controls. The mini-sub made bubbling sounds and sunk quickly into the water. As soon as they passed under the bottom of the IBF, the ocean current pushed on the heavy hull of their vessel. Takushi looked out into the ocean from a small window attached to the wall. LeMU was breaking apart. Frames started to warp and fold on itself, like some crumpled old newspaper. Partitions cracked into small pieces and fluttered in the water as if they were petals falling from a flower. Letting out its final breath, LeMU spewed out fine air bubbles into the sea, which flowed gently into the current. From the twisted wreckage, black smoke rose into the water. Pieces of iron drifting in the ocean glittered from the sunlight coming from above. The edge of his rapidly clearing field of view, the sinking shadow of the brutal wreckage could be seen. Paradise sank into the dark ocean, darkness raising a spine-chilling death cry.
これからどうするの？
Tsugumi asked in a quiet voice. A small egg-shaped vessel holding the two of them headed silently toward the surface.
やりたいことは山ほどある。まあひとまずどこから手をつけるか考えてるところさ。
Takushi spoke as he placed a motionless Pee-Pee on the seat next to him. That statement right there sounds familiar. Maybe he did find Pee-Pee from before. I can't remember.
そういうつぐみはどうするんだ？くだらない質問だったかな。
そんなことないわ。私も ゆっくり考えてみてもいい？
どうぞ。
Takushi smiled. The smile would soon fade. Yeah. Heavy ringing filled the submarine.
今の音、何？
Skimmy looked at Sakashi worriedly.
さあね。
Was that sound effect from Star Wars? Not Star Wars, but from Star Trek? It sounds familiar. Did I make that comment last time? I can't remember. The operating console made a funny sound.
何の音？
わからん。おい、そっちの画面になんか出てるぞ。
The monitor behind Sugumi started blinking.
なんて書いてあるの？
そっちの方が近いんだから、振り向いて自分で見ろよ。
嫌よ。見たくない。嫌な感じがするから。
わがまま言うなよな、お前。
Looking like he didn't have any other choice, Takushi peeked at the monitor.
ああ、どれどれ。電源バッテリー不足だとさ。
As if responding to what Takushi said, the lights in the sub suddenly went out. The monitor went dark and all the power went out. Electrical equipment went silent. The only thing still working was the analog pressure gauge. Present depth 189 feet. Internal pressure 12.5 atmospheres.
たけし。
Sugumi's voice was shaking.
大丈夫、大丈夫だって。そんな泣きそうな顔すんな。
Depth 192 feet. Its momentum lost, the submarine began sinking slowly, very slowly. Residual air pressure 0. Residual. Yes, the air pressure doesn't live there. Ballast tank unable to drain.
やれやれ、ポンコツタクシーだ。田舎道だとすぐにエンストしちまう。困ったもんですな、お客さん。
Depth 195 feet. Takushi looked at the aft hatch. It had a two-ply hatch. The inner side was made of reinforced glass and FRP, and the outer side had a door made from high-strength steel.
なあ、ハッチから船内の高圧空気を抜いたら勢いで浮上できると思うか？
無理よ。まっすぐ浮上できるとは思えないし、勢いなんてたかが知れてる。そんなことをすれば浸水転覆するのは目に見えてる。余分な圧搾空気だってないんだから。そもそもこの本体を浮かべるための浮力が不足してるの。
浮力。
バラストを捨てないと。
バラスト。
本来ならバラストのバルブは電動制御される。だけど今は。
まあまあ落ち着こう。この沈降速度の遅さからしてあとちょっぴりだけ軽くなればいいんだよな。全体重量に対してまあたかだか数十キロといったところだろう。そこいらの機械をいくつか引っこ抜いて捨ててみるか。軽くな。
簡単に引っこ抜けると思う？
いや、がっちり溶接されてるしな。素手じゃ難しそうだな。あいにく今何の道具の持ち合わせもないし。
やっぱり無理よ。
Skimmy bit her lip and looked down.
そっか、無理か。
Depth 201 feet. They were sinking. By that electricity, the submarine was just a hunk of metal.
ぬか喜びしちゃったね、結局。バカみたい。私バカみたい。
Tears began to fill Sugumi's eyes. Sugumi raised her voice. A single tear fell rolling down her cheek.
何やってるのよ、たけし。
何ってお前、見てわからないか？ハッチを開けてるんだよ。
だから何やってるのよ。
何がだからなんだ？
やめてよ。何をする気なの？
Sugumi grabbed onto Takushi's arm.
邪魔すんなって。
He threw off Sugumi's arm and raised up the glass hatch. It was just large enough for one person to go through.
触らないでくれよ。俺に触るな。
いや、離さない。
Sugumi grabbed onto Takushi's arm fiercely.
死んでも離してやらないから。
Depth 207 feet, they wouldn't stop sinking. Slowly and steadily they fell. Headed for the dark bottom of the ocean.
はあ、 本当にわがまま勝手なやっちゃな、お前。なあ、つぐみ。アルキメデスの原理って知ってるか？
For that instant, Tsugumi's grip relaxed. In that brief instant, Takashi tore himself forcefully away from her grasp. He quickly opened the glass hatch and slipped to the back of the airlock. The area between the hatches was extremely cramped. Takashi closed the glass hatch from inside and shut the latch right away. It had passed a depth of 210 feet.
Takeshi! Takeshi! 何やってるの? 開けて! 出てきて!
Tsugumi wildly pounded on the reinforced glass with her fist.
つぐみ、何言ってるんだ？ガラスが熱くてよく聞こえんぞ。
バカ！バカ！開けろって言ってるの？何考えてるのよ!
Tears started falling from Tsugumi's wide open eyes. Tsugumi desperately pounded the flat of her tear-covered hand against the glass.
あれ、ひょっとしてお前知ってたんだ、アルキメデスの原理。っていうか、俺がお前に教わったのかもしれんな。そりゃ知ってるわな。すまんかった。
笑い事じゃないの？冗談じゃない。そういう問題じゃないんだよ。バカ！たけしのバカ！
Tsugumi sobbed as she screamed.
ああ、俺はバカだ。大バカだとも。そんなことも知らなかったのか、つぐみ。
Takashi put one hand behind them on the other hatch. Slowly turned the handle.
たけし。
Tsugumi froze in place.
まさか。まさか。まさか。死ぬ気なの？
大丈夫だよ。俺は確かにバカだが、そこまでバカじゃない。
In saying this, Takashi continued to turn the handle on the other door without stopping. Up 219 feet.
お願い。一人にしないで。私を一人にしないで。
まったく心配性なやっちゃな。
Takashi forced a smile.
大丈夫だって何度も何度も言ってるだろ。ちゃんと生きる気になったろ、お前。だったら生きろ。生きている限り生きろ。大丈夫。俺は死なない。
222 feet. The hatch on the bottom of the submarine opened. The air which had been compressed in the airlock was jettisoned into the ocean. Takashi's body shot out like a bullet into the water. Bubbles flew everywhere. An infinite number of white bubbles floated toward the surface. They seemed like powdery snow caught in the wind. Snow that flew towards the heavens. He could no longer hear her voice. From the other side of the glass, he could make out her blurry outline. Her face covered with tears, her face was broken with sadness. 225 feet. Takashi paddled through the water, holding on to the railing. He closed the outside hatch. He couldn't see her anymore. 228 feet. He let go of his last source of support and kicked the sub. Takashi's body spun out as if it were dancing into a blue world. 231 feet. He sank toward the bottom of the ocean. White bubbles extended out beyond his field of vision, wobbling slowly upwards towards the heavens. Up 357 feet. Everything that he could see dissipated into the water. The outlines faded, nothing came into focus, only light and shadow reflected in his eyes. There's one thing, however, that he could see clearly through the haze. A small white dot swaying in the distance. Dazzling light from the sky poured down on him from a single point. This image burned into both his eyes. Bloop. He let out his last gasp of air. Cold seawater poured into his lungs. A blanket of blue darkness covered him in his final resting place. His limbs, sprawled out on the rocky ocean floor, had stopped moving, like a marionette with its strings cut. Bad. Back in the world of 2034. When I returned to consciousness, I was crying. Feelings overcame me in torrents rushing through me hotly. Dad is dead? The weight of my sadness pressed down on me, and a sense of futility tore a hole in my heart. But it was no time to be overcome by sadness. Wiping the wetness from my cheeks, I looked at my surroundings. A new day was breaking, just as it had been in 2017. Through my tears, the blue sky and ocean came into my vision. It seemed that I was above the floating island. I could analyze the situation calmly, but the tears wouldn't stop. I wiped them away with the palm of my hand and licked the large drops as they rolled past my mouth. Squeezing my eyes shut tightly, I took in deep breaths to calm down. I trembled slightly as I let out a sigh and looked around at my surroundings again. It was definitely above the floating island. The wind was blowing lightly and the green trees were swaying gently. The morning sun was letting out golden rays onto the surface of the ocean. It had been a while since I had been outdoors, and the wide blue sky, the smell of the warm humid breeze, but as beautiful as it seemed, it didn't help me one bit. Rather, the richness of it all made me feel even more alienated. I'm all alone and so terribly sad. I wiped away the tears which continued to flow and tried hard to suppress my urge to cry out. I had to think. There's no time to be crying. I shook my head repeatedly and tried with all my strength to collect my atrophied thoughts. Think. 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 First I needed to grasp the situation I was in. Followed threads of my memory. Remembered having gotten safely out of LeMU, but had no memories after that. Excuse me. I had no idea what had happened after that. Did I read that? I couldn't imagine that I had been standing outside all night. Suddenly realized that nobody else was there. As I began to walk on grass, I looked wildly in all directions. Soon, I became aware of one solitary figure. It was Kabaraki. Had his back to a tree trunk and was staring out at the vast ocean. I ran over to him and screamed at him. What's he gonna scream at him? Who knows? But Kabaraki's, I'm guessing, knows why they're repeating this thing, so it'll definitely be interesting to find out. And so we're gonna have to find out next time. Before I end it, this will only be one episode a day. I might do two more, I'm not sure. But just to inform you, I have a bad habit, and it's taking up more games to do on here. Hopefully this will be the last one until I get some completed in some form. This morning I got Kerbal Space Program and I've been playing it and enjoyed it, and I did an episode of it just a little bit ago and I think it went fairly well. Decently. So, if that sounds interesting, it's about you taking over like a NASA type place and on another planet. You're trying to get them to space, pretty much, and explore. So, that seems interesting. If it don't sound interesting, no worries. I had fun doing it, so that's all the motivation that, on my part. So yeah, I hope you folks enjoy this, and just see you in the next one. Where I think answers will be answered or something like that. So see you there.